hear, my hunch is that you're likely to hear more of a post-9/11 analysis of the world than going back to 9/11 in any way. I can't believe that it's already been 10 years since the event has started. I feel like I was at the inception of this forum, even though I came in several years later. We have a very good lineup, excellent expertise, and very erudite lineup of scholars to speak here, so I will keep my remarks to a minimum, just to say that the event was initiated by a colleague of ours, Jules Taigio, who has since passed away, and Barbara Loomis, the chair of the history department, will give a few remarks, opening remarks about that legacy, Jules's legacy, and some more. Barbara.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm very happy to welcome all of you on behalf of the history department and all the participating departments as well. I think, where were you when you first knew about 9/11? I'm sure that memory is seared in your being. I remember listening to NPR, Wake Up Radio, and the report as it changed from just sort of bewilderment to horror, and sort of turning to my husband and saying, something terrible is happening in New York. And then coming to campus and realizing that the world had changed completely, that it would never be the same again. And I think the world has changed in many ways, some for the worse, but some for the better. And I think one of the ways that the world has changed for the better is that people have been trying to find out more about the part of the world beyond Europe and beyond the U.S., and to understand the ways that Europe and the U.S. are deeply implicated in the events of that world. And so I think that, in fact, one of the ways that the world has changed since 9/11, that this forum is a part of, is this quest for knowledge. And I'm so grateful to the experts who've come to talk about what they know, to share with you, and hopefully you'll be able to ask them the kinds of probing questions that will allow us to move a whole lot farther in our understanding. Our colleague Jules Taigio was someone who also was very much interested in all of the world, whether it was a matter of baseball trivia or who was the actor in some obscure movie in the 1930s, or reading everything that he could get his hands on to try to make sense out of the politics and culture of the world around us. Jules was very much a person who would love to be here today to hear what these people have to say. And his wife asked me to let you know how much the family cares about this tradition carrying on to honor Jules and his contributions to the community and the university. So I think it's going to be a stimulating day. I think you're going to go away with more than you came into this room. So I welcome you, and I think you're going to have a good next couple of hours.
Thank you, Brian.
Chris, could you ask
Hey, come on in.
Try and squeeze in. There's a couple of chairs.
And there's
a table in the back there.
Some people might want to sit up along the counter. Then it'd be like the balcony seats.
chair right here?
Thanks again. I won't say anything. I'll reserve my comments to the Q&A session as well as to moderate the event. I just want to go through the quick lineup of who we have here today. Maziar Behruz at the other end, professor in history, Middle East, history of the Middle East, as well. His title today is Iran and the Arab Spring. Iran Kaplan, Professor of Jewish Studies, the Arab Spring and the Israeli Summer. That's his topic for today. Professor Joel Cacciola from the Department of Political Science. Temporary and incomplete despair about our social illusions following the 9/11 attacks. Professor Mahmoud Monchipuri here right next to me, International Relations. A decade after 9/11, what is the biggest threat to U.S. national security? Professor Lucia Vogt, Springtime Elsewhere, what happened to the Cedar Revolution in Lebanon? And finally, Professor Muhammad Salama, speaking on his topic entitled Parasitic Historiographies, Writing History After 9/11. The way we will go down this list is actually as we have it on the brochure, on the poster. So first will be Professor Bayrous.
Thank you, Chris. I'm going to be talking about Iran 10 years after, and Iran's interaction and influence on what we call today the Arab Spring, what's going on in relation to Iran. And Iran sees the developments in the Middle East going back, at least the Islamic leadership of Iran, going back to 1979. A revolution which toppled the pro-Muslim government, and for the first time in modern period allowed an Islamist movement, a movement that advocated ruling a society, organizing society based on Islamic law and Islamic tradition as it understood it. That this event, 1979 revolution in Iran, in fact started a process that is now blossoming into the Arab Spring. That's if you want to hear what Tehran is saying, that's what Tehran is saying. This is proving us right. We did it correct. In fact, if you look at the last 10 years, what has happened in the region has tremendously favored Iran. That is to say, the U.S. policy in the region, in a way, has tremendously, or at least outwardly, empowered Iran. Two of its biggest enemies, the Taliban to its east and Saddam Hussein's secular quasi-fascist regime in Iran, were knocked off and destroyed by the United States. These are the two biggest competitions Iran had, both of which it didn't have to lift a finger to bring down. Iran's influence in Iraq today and in Afghanistan